The second most important questions in this series relating to consumer protection is discuss the nature and scope of remedies available under Consumer Protection Act. So let us discuss about the very introduction relating to this question. So, to provide simple, speedy, and inexpensive redressal of consumer grievances, the Act envisages a three-tier quasi-judicial machinery at the district, state, and national levels. At the district level, there are to be district forum as the redressal forum. The state government may, if it deems fit, establish more than one district forum in a district. At the state level, there are to be similar redressal commission to be known as state commission, and at the national level, there is a national consumer disputes redressal commission to be known as national commission. So, exactly who can file a complaint as provided under Section 12 of the Consumer Protection Act? So, the consumer to whom such goods are sold or delivered or agreed to be sold or delivered or such service provided or agreed to be provided could file a complaint. And secondly, any recognized consumers association, namely any voluntary consumers association registered under the Companies Act 1956 or any other law for the time being in force, could be considered as a complaint. And also one or more consumers where there are numerous consumers having the same interest with the permission of the district forum on behalf of or for the benefit of all consumers so interested could be a complaint. And now we would like to discuss another important aspect of the Consumer Protection Amendment Act 1993, which provided regarding class complaints. So, the Consumer Protection Amendment Act 1993 permitted representative complaints. Such a complaint may be filed with a district forum by one or more consumers on behalf of or for the benefit of consumers. Numerous consumers having a common interest. Thus, the Act can be used on behalf of a group of consumers with a common cause in as it was decided in a case like overcharging in parking lots as in the famous Loya Masons or LML case. Two-wheeler manufacturers where the company did not refund the advance deposit of Rs 500 to lakhs of depositors despite cancellation of the booking for scooters. So, the very group of consumers are numerous consumers as a group considered as class complaints. They filed the complaint against the Lohiya Masons or the LML group. And now we would like to discuss what to file a complaint. So, as per the provisions of Section 11 of the Act, if the value of the goods or services and the compensation, if any claim does not exceed rupees 20 lakh, then the complaint can be filed in the district forum as provided under Section 11 of the Act and as regarding Section 17 of the Consumer Protection Act relating to state commission. If the value of the goods or services and compensation, if any claimed, exceed rupees 20 lakhs but does not exceed rupees 1 crore, the complaint can be filed before the State Commission. So, in that connection, we would like to discuss one important leading case, and that is Public Health Engineering Department versus Upbhokta Sarankan Samiti in 1992, when a joint petition is filed on behalf of a large number of victims. It is the total amount of compensation claimed in the petition, not the individual claims, that will determine the question of jurisdiction. So, in case the total compensation claimed exceeds presently in this important leading case, RS total acts but does not exceed RS 1 crore, the matter can be heard by the State Commission. And besides that, as per the provisions of Section 17, the State Commission shall have also the jurisdiction to entertain appeals against the orders of any restricted forum within the state. Now we would like to discuss the provisions of Section 21 relating to National Commission. So, if the value of goods or services and the compensation, if any, claimed exceed RS 1 crore, complaint can be filed before the National Commission as per the provisions of Section 21 of the Consumer Protection Act. And the very National Commission shall also have the jurisdiction to entertain appeals against the orders of any state commission. So, now the question is relating to how to file a complaint. There is no fee for filing a complaint before any of the aforesaid bodies. The complainant or his authorized agent can present the complaint in person. The complaint can also be sent by post to the appropriate forum or commission. The complaint should be addressed to the president of the forum or commission. A complaint should contain the following information, such as the name, description, and address of the complainant. The name, description, and address of the opposite party, as the case may be, as far as they can be ascertained, and the facts relating to complaint and when, where it arose, and all documents, if any, support of the allegations contained in the complaint, and also the relief which the complaint is seeking. So, in that connection, we would like to discuss the reliefs available to consumers as provided under Section 14 of the Consumer Protection Act. So, as per the provisions of Section 14 of the Act relating to reliefs available to consumers, as if after the proceeding conducted under Section 13 relating to power of the district forum, when it is satisfied that the goods complained against suffer from any of the defects specified in the complaint, or that any of the allegations contained in the complaint about the services are proved, it shall issue an order to the opposite party directing him to do one or more of the following things, such as to remove the defect pointed out by the appropriate laboratory from the goods in question, or to replace the goods with new goods of similar description which shall be free from defects, or to return to the complainant the price, or as to the case may be, the charges paid by the complainant, or to pay such amount as may be awarded by it as compensation to the consumer for any loss or injury suffered by the consumer due to the negligence of the opposite party or to remove the defects in goods or deficiency in the services and questions or to discontinue the unfair trade practice or the restricted trade practice or not to repeat them or not to offer the hazardous goods for sale or to withdraw the hazardous goods from being offered for sale or to seize manufacture of hazardous goods and to desist from offering services which are hazardous in nature or to pay such sum as may be determined by it if it is of the opinion that loss or injury has been suffered by any large number of consumers who are not identifiable conveniently, or to issue corrective advertisement to neutralize the effect of misleading advertisement at the cost of the opposite party responsible for issuing such misleading advertisements, and finally to provide for adequate cost to parties. Above all, the district forum shall have the power to grant penetrative damages as it fits them to fit. So, in that connection, would like to discuss certain provisions included under the Consumer Protection Act 2019. So, the very act that is the Consumer Protection Act 2019, which in the era of globalization, online platforms, e-commerce, markets, etc., are introduced under the Consumer Protection Act 2019, which enacted to replace Consumer Protection Act 1986. Entirely, it provides for improved protection of e-commerce involved in online transaction. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 has widened the scope of definition of consumer to include persons who buy or avail of goods or services online or through electronic means, which was not present in the Consumer Protection Act 1986. The Consumer Protection Act 2019 has also included definition of advertisement as any audio or visual publicity, representation, endorsement, or pronouncement made by means of inter alia, electronic media, internet, or website. Under the provisions of Consumer Protection Act 2019, a central consumer protection authority has been established in 2020. The Central Consumer Protection Authority has notified the guidelines for prevention of misleading advertisements and endorsement for misleading advertisement in 2022. And exactly the very objective is to curb misleading advertisements and protected the consumers who may be exploited or affected by such advertisements. As per these guidelines, due diligence is required for endorsement of advertisements so that any such endorsement in an advertisement must reflect the genuine, reasonably current opinion of the individual, group, or organization making such representation and must be based on adequate information about or experience with or identical goods, product, or service and must not otherwise be deceptive. Further, these guidelines state that where there exists a connection between the endorser and the trader, manufacturer, or advertiser of the endorsed product that might materially affect the value of or credibility of the endorsement and the connection, and the very is not reasonably expected why the audience source connection shall be fully disclosed while making endorsement. To safeguard consumers from unfair trade practices in e-commerce, the Department of Consumer Affairs has already notified the Consumer Protection E-commerce Rules of 2020 under the provisions of the Consumer Protection Act 2019. The rules inter alia outline the responsibilities of e-commerce entities and specifically the liabilities of the marketplace and inventory e-commerce entities, including provisions for customers, grievance redressal. The department has noticed emergence of unfair trade practices known as dark patterns, which involve using design and choice architecture to deceive, coerce, or influence consumers into making choices that are not in their best interest. So the Department of Consumer Affairs conducted an instructive consultation in Mumbai in 2023, which with various shareholders, including Advertising Standards Council of India, e-commerce companies, industries, association, etc. The Department of Consumer Affairs has asked the e-commerce companies, industries, association to refrain from indulging any design or patterns in the online interface of their platform that may deceive or manipulate consumer choice and fell into category of dark patterns. So these are the developments made to the Regional Consumer Protection Act of 1986 due to the Consumer Protection Act of 2019 enacted by the Parliament of India, which created the Central Consumer Protection Authority and which was established in 2020 and finally in 2022. The Consumer Protection Affairs Ministry made the guidelines for prevention of misleading advertisements and endorsement for misleading advertisement. So in this very question that relating to discuss the nature and scope of remedies available under Consumer Protection Act, we discuss the very answers relating to who can file a complaint, such as a consumer, individual consumer, then recognized consumer associations, or one or more consumers. Also, we have discussed relating to class complaints which are inserted under the Consumer Protection Amendment Act of 1993 and the important leading case relating to class complaints is the Lohia Machines or the LML case of scooters. Also, we have discussed another important part of this question where to file complaint, and in that connection, we have discussed the provisions of Section 11 relating to District Consumer Forum and Section 17 relating to State Commission. And in that connection, we have discussed one important leading case, that is Public Health Engineering Department versus Ubhokta Sarankan Samiti in 1992. Then finally we have discussed about the National Commission as provided under Section 21 of the Act, and then we have discussed how to file a complaint and what are the procedures and manners of filing a complaint before the District Consumer Forum and the appeals made to State Commission and also appeal made to National Commission. Then we have discussed the very remedies, or we could say the reliefs available to consumers as provided under Section 14, and those substantial amendments and replacement of the Consumer Protection of 1986 Act by the Consumer Protection Act 2009, then enacted by the Parliament by creating Central Consumer Protection Authority in 2020, which was established in the same year, and in particularly the very Amendment Act and the Consumer Protection Act 2019 is exclusively relating to e-commerce, online transactions of goods and services, which was not a part of the original Consumer Protection Act of 1986. And finally, the Ministry of Consumer Affairs made the guidelines in 2022 relating to preventing of misleading advertisements and endorsement for misleading advertisements.